Focus now to India's. Well, India's Q1 GDP growth figures are all set to release tomorrow. But what kind of growth are analysts penciling in, and what are the factors that will be impacting this growth and the numbers? Henceforth, Gaurav Javalkar, my colleague, is here with the numbers. Gaurav, so of course, today we just had Moody's release the growth forecast. It projects India to grow at 7.2%. But what are analysts estimating?
Well, the official numbers of India's GDP growth are going to come, and when we talk about the expectations, now experts believe that India's GDP could register a growth of around 6.9% in this quarter, whereas some estimates go even as low as 6%. Now this will be a little lower than the RBI's expectation of around 7.1% growth in this quarter, and significantly lower if we compare it with the previous quarter. Now there are three reasons why experts believe that this quarter could be a little softer for India's GDP growth. The first one is that the industry segment growth. Now we know that elections were there in Q1 FY25, and at the same time there was an imposition of the code of conduct, and that is the reason why we saw a lagged government spending in this quarter. Apart from that, June is usually a seasonally weak quarter when we compare it with other quarters. And lastly, high frequency data also suggests some kind of slowdown in the economic activities. So it suggests that slowdown is there in the sales growth in the manufacturing companies. Urban consumer confidence was also low, which was a little surprising for the month of May. And when we talk about construction sector, there also we saw some kind of slowdown. Now recently, let's also not forget that Goldman Sachs also cut down its GDP estimates for India for the next 2 years, almost by 20 basis points, and this was owing to a contraction in the spending of the union government. But on the contrary, experts also believe that in this quarter we may see some positive uptick coming up in the agri segment, and services sector as always has been strong for India. So that makes a case of some higher number which may come out for India's GDP growth. Let's also not forget that historically, if we look at the trend of GDP data, India has surpassed almost GDP expectation almost in the last 6 out of 8 quarters when we compare it with the expectation. So last quarter, if we have to name, expectation was at 6.7%, while the actual number came at 7.8%. So definitely watching out on how the actual numbers comes out, as actually when we talk about industry experts, they are expecting some kind of soft quarter when it comes to GDP number in this quarter.
All right, so softer Q1 GDP numbers expected this time around on the back of several key reasons, one being election-related uncertainty, lagged government spending in June. Seasonally is overall a weak quarter. Meanwhile,
if you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.